So this video is obviously 2019 is coming to an end. So this is the my ranking for the top three ranking for the most devastating knockouts of the year 2019. So this year, and number one, I'm going with Deontay Wilder's knockout of Luis Ortiz. As you can see on BoxRec, that was on the obviously on the 23rd of November at the MGM Grand. That's I put that as the number one knockout this year. Some people may say, why don't I rank the Dominic Brazil knockout over the Luis Ortiz knockout? Now, the reason why I put the Luis Ortiz knockout ahead of the Dominic Brazil knockout is the main reason is the fact that Deontay Wilder was actually losing this fight. He was losing the fight. I think the judges, whether they scored it 4-1, I think it was 4-1 to Ortiz. I think all the judges had Ortiz winning on the cards. Whether it was by the amount of rounds people think it should be, it's not really what I'm discussing at hand. It's mainly the fact that Deontay was losing on all of the scorecards. Guy was down. He threw barely any punches. He was just waiting patiently to land the right hand, and the fact that he was doing that, not thinking about ending up going to 12 rounds, not actually landing anything, is what actually was actually surprised. What was actually surprising in itself, because the knock he sparked out Dominic Brazil. No, not sparked out Dominic Brazil. Sparked out Luis Ortiz out of nowhere. Round 7, got wobbled a bit. Got wobbled by Luis Ortiz. Obviously, I thought that it was going wrong. I thought, is this guy gonna get cracked to something big here? Is Luis Ortiz gonna somehow in the torrent of all of these shots somehow land a big left hook, maybe knock out Wilder? All of a sudden, tapped Dominic Brazil, not tapped Luis Ortiz on the chin. All of a sudden, knocked him out of nowhere. Round 7. I saw the recent Fox highlights. Could hear Lennox Lewis and the people going mad on the commentary. Devastating knockout by Deontay Wilder on Luis Ortiz. That was a statement. That showed that Deontay can actually go rounds and be losing every round and just spark people out. And one thing, I saw an interview with the boxer Thomas Delorme. He said that Wilder only needs one punch, and the fight is over. And the fight was over for Ortiz, and he got folded like a deck chair, and it was over for Luis Ortiz. So I put that knockout at number one, just because Wilder looked non-competitive, and out of nowhere, the guy, all of Ortiz's work went to the trash can, and he got knocked out. So I put that one, the Luis Ortiz knockout, at number one for 2019. Also, as you've heard me, I keep talking about. I said something about Dominic Brazil. I put Deontay Wilder's knockout over Dominic Brazil in second place. To be honest, the knockout speaks for itself. What can I say? Out of nowhere, the Brazil looked like he was in it. It was in it because how it really transpired in that round 1, Wilder caught Brazil with a right hand and backed him up. Then Brazil came firing back, came into a few clinches. Wilder just walks up to Brazil, detonates the right hand on Dominic Brazil's chin, knocked him out. And what you can see from Deontay Wilder is the guy only needs one shot, man. Even reverting back to the Ortiz fight, he didn't even catch Ortiz on the chin. He caught Ortiz on the forehead. Because because the recent highlights that came out from Fox, they have some different angles of even the Ortiz knockout. It was a forehead punch, but he caught Brazil dead on the chin. Brazil went flat out on the canvas, Tyson Fury style. He got dropped Tyson Fury style, and he just literally got stretched out. And shows how powerful Deontay is, because it took Anthony Joshua, I think it was 8 rounds to get Brazil out of there, and even though he knocked him out, he just wasn't as destructive, and he wasn't as blown away by AJ as he was by Deontay Wilder. So 1 round knockout from Deontay Wilder, I put that as second place just because of how it transpired. I feel like the Ortiz knockout was in that fashion was less expected, compared to what I expected from Deontay Wilder to do to Dominic Breazeale, because I expected Deontay Wilder to blast out Dominic Breazeale, but not in one round, but he blasted him out in a round. But I'm putting Ortiz fight number one just because of how well Ortiz was looking, and all of a sudden he got knocked out out of nowhere. And I put the Dominic Breazeale knockout in second place because obviously it wasn't is the Dominic Breazeale knockout might look worse than the Luis Ortiz knockout, but it's just the way for me, in my opinion, the way the fight just transpired for the Luis Ortiz fight. I just have to put the Luis Ortiz knockout number one, just because Wilder was losing rounds and got himself out of jail with a devastating knockout on Ortiz, and second place obviously blasted Breazeale out of there. But I'm just gonna put Luis Ortiz fight number one, Dominic Breazeale fight number two. So for me, Deontay Wilder takes the 1 and 2 spots for knockout of the most devastating knockout of the year. In third place, I'm gonna go with the Canelo Alvarez knockout over Sergey Kovalev. I think he deserves that because moving up to light heavyweight, I was not sure if maybe Kovalev's gonna be able to because I haven't seen Canelo take power over someone from the light heavyweight. I just haven't, so I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. But for Canelo Alvarez to move up to the light heavyweight division and spark out Canelo, let me put it what fold Sergey Kovalev like the way he did. And to be honest, some people say Kovalev was old and he had less recovery time from the Anthony Yard fight, but it's still Sergey Kovalev. Like this is Sergey Kovalev. Doesn't to me it doesn't matter. It's like a Usyk. Let's say Klitschko's still around, age 40. Let's say Klitschko's still around now, and he's still decent. And then maybe like an Usyk moves up from cruiserweight, and then knocks out Klitschko. Even if Klitschko was older, people are gonna still say, "Listen, Usyk still knocked out Vladimir Klitschko." So for Canelo to move up from the welterweights and then to middleweight and then from all across the years and to move up to light heavyweight and knock out a renowned light heavyweight, I have to put Canelo Alvarez in my top three for devastating knockouts of the year because he sparked out Sergey Kovalev. And I don't know, I think Sergey Kovalev now, I don't want to see this guy any more fights. He's been around for a long time since he's been fighting Ward and all that, and many other fights. Kovalev's was, but it's obviously age. Father Time is catching up with him, and he's just not as good as he was. And it seemed to be exposed as well. Even though he knocked out Anthony Yard, his age seemed to be exposed because he got rocked. And even his coach was even talking about pulling him out of the Anthony Yard fight if he has a bad round like it, because Yard nearly knocked him out. But big knockout by Canelo Alvarez on Sergey Kovalev. So yeah, that's my ranking, man. Deontay Wilder's knockout on Ortiz, number one. Knocked him out in the 7th round, the same round that Ortiz had him in trouble in the first fight. And my second knockout is the Dominic Breazeale knockout. Devastating 1-round knockout. Sparked out Dominic Breazeale. Expected him to spark him out, but he sparked him much earlier than I thought. And third place, I give my devastating knockout to Canelo Alvarez on Sergey Kovalev, a big name. So yeah, man, that's my top three. Drop your comments in the comment section below. I'm just doing my 2019, what am I going to call it? My KO Boxing Vibe Awards. That's what I'm going to call it. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Who do you think holds the devastating knockouts? Top 3 devastating knockouts for 2019. Is it Deontay Wilder? Is it Canelo Alvarez? Is it AJ? Not AJ. Not 29. Not AJ. Is it Andy Ruiz having the knockout over Anthony Joshua? Because I'm looking mainly at the devastating knockouts, the flatline, the knockout, the right hand, the shots that flatline the opponents. But if you still think that maybe the Andy Ruiz knockout is still viable to be included within the maybe devastating knockout list, drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me hear from you guys. Let me hear your top 3. If you put Ruiz in there, Charlo could be in there. Derek Chisora could be in there. There's many other names that could be listed in the top in the list of devastating knockouts. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me hear from you guys. Drop your comments. Let me see your list, guys. Cool.